and welcome. You're watching Newsx with me, Devika Chopra. The Ranya Rao gold smuggling case is becoming murkier. Newsx has learned that Ranya used to get rupees 12 to 13 lakh for each trip to Dubai, which she made 27 times in the past year. Ranya has revealed that she strapped 14 gold bars to her thighs to avoid detection. Her father and DGP Ramachandra Rao has now washed his hands off this case, said he is shocked and claims that he has a clean past. But a 2014 case has now come to light when he was the IGP of Southern Range Mysuru, when a businessman filed a rupees 2.07 crore case of looting against the police when they intercepted a bus carrying Hawala money. The question still remains, is this a massive racket at work? Was the policeman who accompanied Ranya Rao in any way linked to her father? What is the Dubai link of this case? The courts have now reserved their order on Ranya's bail plea until tomorrow. Will the actor's high-profile linkage help her evade investigations? That's the big question that remains. I take this conversation forward. I with me Joyita Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian. Bhaskar Rao, former police commissioner of Bengaluru, also with us is Dr. Swati Jindal, AOR of the Supreme Court. Let me begin this conversation with Mr. Bhaskar Rao. Mr. Rao, your first understanding and reading of the entire case, of some of the information that has come out so far. Firstly, the fact that she's made multiple visits to Dubai in the past year itself. Secondly, her lawyers at this point in time are claiming that there was some form of blackmail that was involved, that she was blackmailed into doing this, but somewhere that is countered, or is it countered by the fact that the investigative agencies have now found that she was getting anywhere between 12 to 13 lakh rupees per visit to Dubai?
I would say that this whole crime of being used as a mule to transport gold has been misused thoroughly because of protocol services being availed for children of officers, which is absolutely incorrect. That is one. Number two, probably you have more private to investigation, which I don't have at this point of time, or is it a little premature to say this. But I have only got to know that the DRI has sought for its custody for the alleged accused for further investigation. And this investigation cannot be done by only one agency alone. The ED has to come in, the income tax also has to come in, the customs have to come, and a whole lot of other organizations, because outside the country, for a proper investigation to be carried out, you need MLAT facilities. MLAT is a concept which the CBI can avail with Interpol to get the telephone conversations, place of stay of the perpetrator, and the use of accommodation, use of taxi services, etc. I don't know whether DRI has the wherewithal to carry out, but definitely CBI has got a large network of investigation. So probably the case, it would be suitable if the case goes to CBI for investigation. But this kind of brazenly bringing in gold is absolutely something, what you say, the DRI has been quick to point out, but definitely a lot of gold has already left. But I also tell you that the customs at our international airport are quite trustworthy. They trust the people too much, and people keep boasting outside. I've heard that how they fooled the customs and how they were able to. So probably if they step it up, they will say customs harass kar rahi hai. But if they leave it like that, they come out and boast how they hoodwinked the customs. And given the attitude of our people are absolutely jugadu people who try to do all kinds of notorious things and engage in smuggling. So the one way I feel is that this protocol services should be banned. Everybody is equal, and why is it that different departments like police department, customs, courts, and then IAS officers, forest service officers, etc. should have a protocol to accelerate the entry and exit. This is not some prevalent in any other international airport which is going on. So this girl comes out of the airport, and much before customs, a person in uniform whisks her away and puts her in a police car and takes her away. And as you have been saying that this has been going on for quite some time, and probably this is multiple trips she has made, and multiple huge amount of gold is already uploaded. But one thing is very sure, that the cloud of suspicion remains over the officer that why such protocol services are extended. Probably investigation is going to unravel what the truth is and whether the father had a role to play or no role to play. Investigation will tell us that. Thank you.
Mr. Bhaskar Rao, as we're speaking, we've also learned, I'm just going to request our crew to put this circular out on the screens. If you can just replicate my screen on the screen for the viewers as well. So, Ranya Rao's father has now shared, in a way, his first comprehensive statement on what has happened. He says, I stand before all of you today not as a serving officer but as a heartbroken parent. No words can truly express the depth of my shock, pain and devastation by the recent developments. Ranya and her husband Jatin Hukeri got married in 2024, that is last year, and since then they have maintained complete independence and privacy. She stopped visiting the family home and we were also not given opportunities to visit them in their new home, resulting in a clear and definitive separation between us. For years I have dedicated my work with honesty and integrity, built my life on the principles of discipline. I value my work above all else with a commitment to serving people and upholding my responsibilities. It is deeply distressing that despite this lifelong dedication, my reputation and family's future are now being tarnished by something beyond our control. I understand that in speculative times like these, my years of hard work may be unfairly associated with these events. Mr. Bhaskar, I'm bringing you back into the conversation. Yes, fair enough that the father of Ranya Rao now puts out this statement where he of course is saying that I had really nothing to do with it, and in fact I have been completely separated from my daughter for the past 1 year ever since she got married. However, how does then that explain her ability to be able to avail some of these security protocols, as you've just mentioned very clearly, that in India this concept is there that if you're a son or daughter of somebody important, a family member of somebody important, then airport protocols will also change for you. So how is it that she was able to avail some of these services or have a police car dedicated or have a person in uniform dedicated to her if she's just not had any ties with her father, and her father has no clue that his daughter, who he says he's separated with, is actually availing all of these services at the airport?
You have hit the nail on the head. Now that the father has said that he's estranged or rather incommunicado with the daughter, but the daughter continues to enjoy the privileges of summoning a police vehicle and a protocol officer and a man in uniform to take her out of the airport. And the customs officers also should not get overawed by police. They should be doing their job instead of getting to know that the police person has come to take away. And every person, in fact, such people who interfere with their jobs should be seen with double the caution. I'm sure immigration doesn't do that. Immigration does a very strict job. Why should customs allow people to be escorted out without being searched or without being frisked? And see, we all travel to different countries, and when we go to other countries, we stand in a line, wait for our turn, allow ourselves to be searched or examined or as per the law of the land over there. Why should it not happen here? Only in our country we see all this kind of babu culture, VIP culture, and I must say that we have been worse than the Britishers also. That we want all claims of privilege of going into the lounge of the international airport. And I am now told, I think I should bring it to the notice of the BIL CEO also, that a lot of these escort persons of different departments are offering it for a huge cost to a few corporates also, accelerating their arrival right up to accelerating their movement right up to boarding also. So this should stop. This doesn't happen in any other airport. Why should we descend to that level of being? Or let the airport itself charge, like how Indigo charges for a front seat, for a window seat, for a aisle seat. Okay, you want to come soon? Take, and we'll take you right up to the aircraft door. These things should not get outsourced, or private people should not profit out of these things, because this could be dangerous for the security of the whole country itself. More so, customs should not get overawed. DRI should not get overawed. Everybody should be examined as per the law of the land, and people make a mockery when they come out saying that मैंने customs को बेवकूफ बना दिया, DRI को बेवकूफ बना दिया. So the trust which they have should be maintained, and people should be searched. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Swati Jindal, I want to bring you into the conversation here. Ranya Rao's father now says that if there's any violation of law, then let law take its own course. We are expecting her bail plea to come up on Friday. An order has been reserved by the courts on the same. However, her legal team at this point in time is strongly opposing the request of the DRI, which is now seeking further custody, because they believe that a larger smuggling syndicate is at work. What really become the legal options before the prosecution as well as the defense at this point in time?
See, we have various laws that will come into place. We have various protocols that will come into place now that the matter is under investigation already. There is the Customs Act, there is also the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. The sheer amount of gold that is anticipated to have been smuggled into India. Now, you see, as per records, you have said that 27 times she was in and out in the past 1 year. So that is 365 days. In 27 days, she has done this. And considering that, let's assume that the same amount of gold was transported by her, smuggled rather is the word. So we are talking about thousands of kgs of gold. A rough approximation, more than 3,500 kgs of gold. Who's going to be answerable for this? These are huge quantities. And considering the fact that this is not an individual who has done it, no individual person can have the capacity with her background to do it. She has taken use of the government protocol. Mr. Rao was quite right when he said that why should the children of these officers be given this protocol? Now, this is an inherent duty that must come from within the officer himself. On the one hand, the father goes ahead and says that I have not been in touch with my daughter for a whole year. He is placing the entire chain of events on the newly acquired husband and the daughter. How convenient. And a bare, perusal of the facts will show that this cannot be done by her solely. The husband who's allegedly a dentist, how can they do this? It has come out in open, knowledge to everyone that she was using all the acquired protocols. There was a police person who used to assist her outside the customs, and then there was a car who used to come. So 14, 15 kgs of gold in one trip, and of course her bail petition is going to be pressed by her lawyers, but definitely there is a huge syndicate that is at work, and a deeper investigation needs to be done. A whole lot of other agencies need to be involved, because this is, I believe, I am quite sure this is just the tip of the iceberg. And it is activities like these that are, increasing the black money, no matter how much we press for Achhe Din, until and unless these activities are cleared right from the bud. Things can never be better for a country like India. No matter how much we progress, no matter how much we want to go ahead, these kind of activities will always pull us back.
Okay, Joyita Basu, bringing you into the conversation, are we expecting this to now unravel into a much larger criminal syndicate at work? And as the previous panelists have also pointed out, that it will open up, it seems, a can of worms at this point in time. The fact that she has made almost over 20 trips to Dubai, and today it's support for getting in gold, tomorrow it will be support for getting in other material, it could be drugs tomorrow, anything else for that matter. So how do you think India should also raise this now with authorities in the UAE?
Well, this is actually 5, I think she made 4 trips in 15 days, which is absolutely unnatural. I mean, people who are frequent flyers and are flying between India and the UAE regularly, they also do not do things like that. So you see, that is one of the reasons why the DRI got very suspicious, and she kind of came into their net. Now, my problem, I would say, is with this, with her father. Okay, the thing is that there is something wrong over there. There is no way is it possible that a father who says my daughter is estranged from me for over 1 year, how is it that the daughter is, or how is it that he is so generous that he is allowing his force, his police, his vehicle, so everything to be used by the daughter. Now, the thing is that it would be interesting to find out whether, and as the case unravels, it will be interesting to see whether the daughter sings, simple as that, because there is a high possibility, I would say even a probability, that her father is involved. Without the involvement of somebody higher up, something like this cannot go on right under the nose of the police by using the police. Now, when you are talking about, you see, the UAE authorities, what can the UAE authorities do in this case? Because you see, when you go to Dubai, you go to any of the Emirates over there, I mean, it's gold, gold, gold everywhere. It is not 100 grams, 200, that kilograms of gold. You can openly buy gold over there and kilos of that. And you see, for them to change their policy because Indians are smuggling gold into the country, I do not think that is possible. How can we possibly raise this issue? But yes, when it comes to things like drugs and all, yes, I think so. That I think you have to, India has to be very careful about it, because you see, but gold we cannot do anything, and it is a fact, we all know that gold is one of the biggest trading material when it comes to the Gulf in particular, particularly the UAE. But what actually, if you have to strike at the root of the problem, it is, except for the person concerned, except for the person who is entitled to VIP security, no one else will be. Even that person's wife will have to go through security. Okay, I mean, or even better, when it comes to diplomatic protocols, diplomats from other countries, they are allowed to come in and go out without security. Now, beyond that, cut it for everybody, right from ministers to everyone, or maybe you keep for, say, for example, VVIP, one person and not more than that. Just because there is one person, that now you are entitled, that is making his whole family entitled. No, that is not going to work. This is, you have to strike at the root of the VIP culture.
Okay, Dr. Swati Jindal, I then want to understand from you, because several eyeballs now being raised at the role of Ranya Rao's father as well in this case. Just from a lawyer's perspective, I want to understand from you, if you were to be giving them any legal advice at this point in time, would you be giving the same legal advice as a team probably has, that listen, it's better if your father right now releases a statement saying that there was no contact between the two of you for the past 1 year, or that you've completely cut ties?
See, here we are assuming that both of them are being represented by the same team.
No, I'm talking about the legal team. I'm sure the father has now spoken to, a set of lawyers himself. How do I proceed?
See, Devika, what the issue here is that when things are hot, when people get caught, they just want to save themselves. They don't care who they throw under the bus at that time. They're like, I should be in the clear. So here, does the father really have an option? Can he go ahead and say, I'm so sorry, I was giving all this protocol and we are, abetting in a particular crime, we have common intention? I doubt that he will say that, irrespective of, and I believe, I'm not even going there, how the relations play, but I heard that he's a stepfather. I don't know. These are all things that are floating around since morning. Even if he was a real father, I doubt that he would say that, okay, let me chip in with you and both of us will die together.
No, Dr. Swati Jindal, what I'm trying to say is that there's a difference between just being quiet in the entire situation and perhaps just releasing one statement saying that let law take its course, but for him to present this elaborate statement of how ever since she's gotten married, there has been no contact between the two families and they're virtually separated. That means that somewhere he would have the evidence to back that as well, because obviously the courts are not going by online statements that he's releasing. The courts will now, and the investigative agencies will deeply look into things like call records, WhatsApp messages, any other correspondence that has taken place in the past 1 year.
So are we trying to say that she got away with all the protocol without any messaging between them?
That's what my question is.
Desperate times call for desperate measures. Sometimes the people who are the most acquainted with law make such tardy mistakes that they will regret. Act in haste and repent at leisure. See, you lose all your objectivity when you are subjected to something that you've done and you know that it is wrong. It is unforgivable, especially being in that position that you hold. At that time, you are trying so hard that you protest too much, and it is that protest that takes you down. That's what I believe. He could have easily said that I am not in touch and let us let the law takes its course. But don't you think that the way he's protesting, too much is being spoken by him? Don't you think he's trying to say too much and he's trying to save himself too much? His very conduct and the fact that a protocol that was unique to him was used by the daughter goes a long way to show his involvement in the whole process. And now, I mean, he should have taken one way or the other. Him saying that, yes, I was in touch, but I did not know what was happening, I guess would have been better than him saying that I was not in touch at all. He is digging and he's digging too deep without knowing that he's the one who's going to fall into it. That is what I believe. And but of course, we all are right when we say that law would take its own course and things are under investigation. We don't know what is happening. We cannot presume at this stage that his involvement is there for sure.
Yes. Mr. Bhaskar, I want to understand from your perspective, given whatever information is out there right now, does this reek of a larger syndicated play that several players were involved?
You mentioned a very serious thing, that she was being blackmailed, and then the number of trips she has made. And Swati brought out one point which even I had not thought about, was the invoking the provisions of Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, UAPA. And along with UAPA, there is the Customs Act, there is an IT Act, and there is an Enforcement Directorate, everybody coming into the picture. And I don't know why within such a short period of time, the DRI sent it to judicial custody. Judicial custody, what happened? They get tutored. A lot of people, because they have access to the perpetrator, and they ye bolo, ye mat bolo, itna mat karo, and then there is a lot of time for the perpetrator to get a lot of evidence wiped out also. And if UAPA is invoked, is directly NIA can take over the investigation if there is a threat to the safety of the country. And till now, I have been thinking that only CBI could be investigating, because DRI, being a very local apprehension body of unlawful substances coming inside the country, so I don't know what kind of wherewithal it has to investigate outside the country, but definitely CBI is a larger and bigger organization, and NIA also has its the sister organizations with whom it has got agreements across countries to do it. And one question which you mentioned was that can Dubai do it? Dubai will not do it. It's not Dubai's business. It is not Dubai's business. They're too happy to sell all their gold, which can go across to any part of the country. And if it is drugs, it is consumed, or drugs, if somebody is in possession of drugs within their own country, they will be dealt according to the law of the land. It is we who have to safeguard our borders. And what is unfortunate is that it is not criminals who are creating a nuisance. It is these VIPs, entitled kids, friends, acquaintances of people in power. They are the ones who are endangering society. And even as regards the rampant amount of drugs which flow inside the country with Swati flag, it cannot happen without the connivance of somebody. It is not that we have such a weak machinery and the machinery is weak. Machinery is in place, but it is a compromised machinery. And this compromised machinery can be the most dangerous thing. And why is it they are compromised? And if they are compromised, why are they not being caught? If they are being caught, why are they not being punished? They ought to be sent to jail. And I am only worried that even this case also, I don't think this will go all the way. Some pressure here and there will come, and people will be out to defend that poor girl who is a first-time offender, who has never done this, very young in age. And the defense is going to build up a very huge charge, and the courts may also take it leniently, saying that she was under pressure, she did not know the consequence, etc., etc. And then who becomes a fool? The country becomes a fool out of the whole thing. That's what is more.
Yes.
And despite having the most brilliant advocates and a great judiciary also there, they will go absolutely spot-free. That is what I am very disgusted about. Thank you.
Okay, Joyita Basu, leaving the last word with you. Does this now all fall before the courts as well as the investigative agencies, and it is for the agencies to now prove before the court that this is possibly something larger than some VIP kid just smuggling in gold, and there could be something larger at play here as well?
Well, there is of course the possibility of something larger being involved. First of all, what needs to be probed is the father's role. whatever the father might be saying, it is right now not selling, you see. Well, he could turn out to be innocent, but how, frankly, it does not make any sense. But having said that, of course, it goes without saying this is part of a racket. You know, this is not one girl singly just coming and going, and you know, I mean, the very fact that she is getting in about 14 kilos of gold in every trip, that means she needs some means to dispose it off. You know, why is she getting it? She is obviously not building a Fort Knox in her home. So, how is that gold is getting into the Indian system? All these things need to be probed, and it goes without saying the agencies will have to prove their case to the court. And now here the possibility of pressure from higher authorities comes in, but I hope, given that the DRI was courageous enough that it, you know, they suspected that something was wrong, that they picked it up and they went after this girl, you know, but then there are cases, then there is that shows that the intent is there to investigate the matter. But the problem is that this man is a state police, he is in the state police. Now, DRI is a central agency, the center state confrontation might come into play over there, pressure may come from the state. I have seen this, I mean, rather let us say this has happened in Bengal, where the customs agencies have stopped one particular senior leader's relative, state leader's relative, and the state police got involved. They almost got into a fight with the customs at the airport. So, you see a whole lot of things and pressure tactics come into play, and politics as well. The politics may not have started as yet, but there is a strong possibility that it may become a political issue between the center and the state. So, let us hope the officers, both the state and the central, and you know, they will all be kind of working together in this, and the guilty will be punished, simple as that, and investigated.
Okay, all right. With that, I have completely run out of time, but I thank all of our panelists for joining us this evening to take this conversation forward. On that note, viewers, a very short break.